hockey. Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Judd's Hockey Show. That's right. Show number 1 for the week. It's a new week. It's Judd. It's AJ. And unfortunately, we're here to talk about a weekend that was pretty much a lost one. 1 point out of a possible 4 for the Wild. A complete no-show performance as far as I was concerned against Washington on a Friday. It was terrible. And then they gave more effort and actually, I thought, played okay on Saturday. But AJ, here's what I want to start with, okay? So there's a common theme, though. Like, to me, there's no common theme to how the games looked. Friday, the Capitals just absolutely dominated. They drive to the net. They're really, they're not just good. They're also very, very engaged and have a certain style. And the Wild just looked completely lost. And Gustafsson was magnificent. If he hadn't been, they probably would have put up a 7 or 8 spot. And then on Saturday, though, the Wild came back and played the Flyers and played them tough and lost in OT. But so here's the common thread. And you know, shots on goal are sort of an archaic stat now. There's a lot of ways to define things. So shots on goal aren't like the number one thing, I don't think, now. But in this case, I think they're fairly reflective. So in playing the Capitals, the Wild was outshot 45-14. That's terrible. It wasn't completely surprising if you watched the game. Mm-hmm. But then in the Flyers game, the next night, the Wild was outshot 21-16. And this leads to my question. It's two-pronged. Number one, does this team really miss Mats Zuccarello this much? And if the answer is, well, not that much, then I continue to ask a very simple question. Outside of like Boldy and Kaprizov, where is the offense going to come from? Because I just don't see any consistent offense, and I don't know that they have anyone else to provide it, unless you think that Zuccarello is going to come back and essentially be Wayne Gretzky or Yari Curry from my day, you know? So what's your assessment of this thing so far?
I think it is partly Zuccarello out, but also it's not enough to where you can just lean on that crutch for right now. Because him not being there is one that's a top 6, if not top line forward who you're missing, who has shown that he is a pretty damn good producer, even if it is kind of under the radar and sneaky. But the problem is, I don't think that he is like that game-changing of a player. So it's like it is, but it's not, because it's similar to what the Vikings were going through the first 3 games where Jordan Addison is suspended. Obviously not the same thing, but you're missing a target. You're missing a person, a body that the defense has to take notice of and, you know, say, I have to allocate some of our assets to shutting them down. Right now, without Mats Zuccarello, it's very easily, what are we going to do? We're going to give all of our defensive assets, try to smother that top line and limit them as much as possible. And then their other 9 guys just aren't going to do a whole lot. And that's pretty much what the Wild are showing right now. That's all you need to do to stop them, which is unfortunately also what seemed to be the case at one point last year when a couple guys were out and they were just letting that top line. I want to say it was like Rossi, Boldy, and I forget who they even promoted at that point. But sure. The problem in saying that is, though, I don't think that when he comes back, all of a sudden you're going to see a 6, 7, 8 goal performance every single night by this team, where all of a sudden they're this offensive dynamo and goalies are going to be having nightmares knowing they're facing the Wild that day. That's just not going to happen. I think this is a problem that was very much you could have saw coming after July 1st when they kind of got outbid and they said, you know what, we're not going to go after an impact winger and impact scorer. We're not going to add that. We don't really need to. We either have guys in house or we're satisfied with the talent we have, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's kind of the chickens are coming home to roost. And suddenly all that fantasizing, mythological scoring that we kind of thought they maybe were told they had, that's not there. And it's very, very apparent. Past two games, Friday night, you mentioned the lack of off. And yeah, I think shots on goal, visually for me, I want to see 30 a game. Like that's just my number. But also, if they're high danger chances, it's not a huge thing. Like if you get 10 shots on goal, but you score on 6 of them and they're just all grade A opportunities, I don't care. You're going to win games. But the issue is that Friday night, Washington Capitals, 4.86 expected goals. And I'm going to go with the analytics expected goals thing here. So bear with me. The Minnesota Wild in all situations, 1.89. They got dominated. That was a pathetic performance.
They didn't show up.
No, that looked like a team that it was late in the season. They know they're not making the playoffs. It was just awful. Then you bounce back the next day, and the Flyers are not. They've got some fun guys on that team to watch. Like I like Demidov and Zegras now being there is fun. 0.21 expected goals. That's not that great. I think I don't know about you, but I thought Jesper Wallstedt once again played a pretty good game. Unfortunate that he got beat on that short side. That's 2 games in a row now where he's gotten beat on like a short side banked off him goal. Minnesota Wild generate 1.28 expected goals in all situations. Like that is not acceptable back to back. I understand they're Eastern Conference opponents, so you can, in a sense, like drop points to them.
Right.
But they're not that good of a.
But it's not the teams. It's
4. Yes.
Yeah, it's not the teams. It's the fact that it looked like that's who. Like Friday didn't, but Saturday was sort of who they are, and that's the scary thing. Yeah. And again, I just keep coming back to. You have a lot of wings, especially, and Tarasenko finally did score a goal, but you have a lot of wingers that aren't going to provide you much. And after a fantastic opener. Ryan Hartman at center is sort of back to being himself, which is he takes a dumb penalty per game and he doesn't provide a lot of offense. So this my thought process is this. First of all, Zuccarello is supposed to be back next month, which I get. And look, his return will help. I'm sure it will. It's got to help.
It has to.
But that being said, if you are going to be a competitive team, if you're going to make the playoffs, I think you're very close to, if you're Bill Guerin, having to make a trade. I just don't see how it's workable not to. And so at some point here, I think that if this continues, and I fully expect it will, because I don't know where the cavalry is going to come from, Zuccarello in a trade for somebody that can score some goals, because you've just got a lot of guys that are grinders. I believe they finally at least in the third period, if I saw this correctly, I was trying to take notes, on Saturday, they finally moved Trennan down to the 4th line, and Hinostroza got bumped up to the 3rd. But what's that doing? And look, I'm all for Trennan belongs on the 4th line. Don't get me wrong. But is that really going to provide a spark? Because I mean, you need a goal scoring spark here. You don't need okay, if you just go out and play and I mean, I also don't put a ton of credence across the board in plus minus stats, but have you looked at theirs?
Probably pretty bad, huh?
They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Their top 6 point getters are all minuses. The only plus is Marcus Johansson, who got a goal on Friday, and who I guess they love. It was interesting on the telecast on Friday, which was great because FanDuel has had Nanny in the booth for both games. And Louis was talking about the fact that what they like about Johansson is he can, and I think Hines said this too, he can get the puck through neutral to get it into the zone, which I say that's great, but what is his puck possession in the zone? Because it feels like, yes, he can skate it through, which by the way, shouldn't be like this. Oh my God, I can't believe a guy can do that. But he gets it into the zone, and then my question becomes, okay, what happens when he's in the offensive zone? And I don't know if they track exact puck possession time in the offensive zone, but it sure feels like once JoJo gets there, it's not a lasting thing.
Yeah.
So I just don't see how the pieces fit. I don't see where the goal scoring beyond 2 players is going to come from. And it's far too early to punt. So I think the one thing that you could do is make a trade, and you might as well package Liam Ogren in a trade. He went down. They sent him down again on Friday. He immediately scores a goal. He has nothing left to prove. They're like, he's going to get playing time. He has nothing left to prove in the American Hockey League.
Yeah.
So if we're going to start with a package, take your first round pick. You clearly don't want to play until the year 2035 and try to get a guy currently that can at least pot some goals.
It just baffles me, the treatment and how they're handling Liam Ogren, because it just doesn't make sense to me. And I get that they are in probably high stressful jobs and they've been doing all this stuff for a while. Just it not giving him at least one game to show what he potentially could do. And instead what you're going to do is keep Marcus Johansson in the top 6 game after game after game, or I think you and I and a lot of hockey watching people around the state would agree what he's showing and what he's bringing should not automatically pen number 91 into the top 6 for minutes and just opportunities. It
90. 91's Tarasenko, well, and that's bad.
Maybe
and
just
a whole
insane slip there.
That was a Freudian slip.
Well,
that's good.
Well, there's no reason 90 should just immediately be penned in. Then sending him down for Tyler, and this is not a jab at Tyler Pitlick, but I'd rather have Liam Ogren in the lineup, and I want Liam Ogren to get an opportunity. Clearly, there's a bias or some sort of harboring hate that they just don't want him. Trade him, because it's really getting disrespectful at this point. He's 22 years old. He should be in a position where he's set to start blossoming as a player and getting more opportunities, but he's just not, because you want to keep burying him deeper into the soil of Iowa, and you just don't want to play him. I just don't get it, especially when we just had we've been talking now for 10 minutes about how lacking they are offensively. What changes that? Shaking things up offensively with some line combinations and probably promoting a 22-year-old who is supposed to be, by all scouts detailing, a goal-scoring forward, a top 6 winger projected. So let's project some more ice time. Let's project some opportunities here, John Hines. It just doesn't make sense to send him down. Yeah. And I understand he's not it's like Schrodinger's hockey player with me at this point, because you're not giving him the opportunity, but also I can't justify my thoughts if I don't see him get these opportunities. So what I'm seeing is fourth line minutes and that fourth line role. And he's just not a fourth line hockey player. He's not supposed to be. That's not what you wouldn't put Kirill on the fourth line and say, go out there and check and then get off. Kirill is a highly skilled player. And that's a bad comparison because they're two otherworldly players. But Liam Ogren at least needs 1 or 2 chances before you finally make this decision. And I don't think they're going to give it to him, so you might as well just trade him.
Well, he needs 10 because he clearly feels the pressure, and he's on the fourth line. And what they'll claim is, in good old hockey culture terms, well, we gave these guys, in fact, that's what they try to say at the end of camp, we gave these guys a chance to grab it, and they didn't grab it. But you're telling me Johansson, this version of Tarasenko is they grabbed it all right. They grabbed it. There's a bias towards them because they're older. And, Johansson can skate the puck through neutral. And once in a while, he'll shoot. The fact that Louis, who I think talks to, he's very good. And he clearly talks to his people, right? And which are with the team and stuff. And he's saying that he, encourages Johansson to shoot more. And then he did. Well, Marcus Johansson ain't changing now. Just because he shot more for one, this is classic. They'll tell him to do something and he'll do it for a period or maybe 3, and that's it. So, and this whole thing of, Ogren didn't grab the opportunity. Okay, but you don't have anyone better than him, and find out. I mean, worst case, he is a disaster. But this is where it gets interesting too, because, for instance, okay, and I am no way in saying this guy does not deserve regular playing time, so hear me correctly. Zebullium, a rookie, is playing 20 minutes and 43 seconds per game, and he is producing. He has 5 points. He has a goal, 4 assists, but he's a -7.
Yeah.
So he's on the. So I'm guessing that the traditional plus minus, or if you look at the advanced analytics stats, that they are not kind to him defensively. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Why? Because he needs to play. Why? Because he is your future. So on Ogren, are you basically saying that A, he doesn't care, and B, he sucks? That's my question. And the stunt with Rossi in the playoffs last year is the same exact thing. I still can't believe they did that. I still can't believe that Freddie Gaudreau was playing above Marco Rossi, and that with a straight face, they justified that. I can't believe Johansson's on the second line when I think we all thought, oh, okay, he's coming back to get to 1,000 games, and they're going to stick him on the fourth line. We can talk about this one. Mm-hmm. David Jiricek gets sent down on Friday. Bogosian blocks a shot. I mean, we talked about this last week. Someone's going to always get hurt.
Yes.
So they bring him back up, and they play him. And it might not have been perfect, but guess what? He needs to play here, not in Iowa. If you're going to lose with veterans, lose with the kids, or at least see what they can do. You're literally replacing the kids with these with, in some cases, these cones and saying, well, but these guys know how to play. It doesn't matter. Give yourself an opportunity to develop. What you're doing, and I know that Bouilliam's special, but what you're doing with Zeev is the exact right thing, which is you're putting up with the problems, and there are problems because the payoff is so high.
I think they might be a little upset. Like, this is just pure speculative, but I wouldn't be shocked if it came out that there was a dissatisfaction with the front office by how highly regarded Zeev Buium is, because now they feel their hand is forced. We've got to play him. We can't cut his minutes. We can't take him off the power play. Otherwise, everybody around the NHL is going to be like, what the hell are they doing taking this top 3 prospect, this Calder projected guy? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if I found out or heard that they were like upset about that narrative, because they're able to do it every single game if they want to with Liam Mogren. I'm surprised it hasn't hit Danila Yurov yet, personally. David Jiricek. It's an interesting case because I don't think, for people that simply look at box scores and like that don't watch the game, and this is where I love the analytic stats, but also I feel like the eye test supersedes everything at the end of the day. Whether you give me 17 billion pieces of underlying analytics that analyzes how a player carves on the ice and all this stuff, the eye test trumps all. I think it does. And I think the eye test, what showed you over the weekend, is he played it wasn't a good weekend, but it certainly wasn't as bad as a lot of the analytics talking heads maybe said, because I sent you this yesterday and I have this. Let's see if I can maybe put this up on the screen here for the YouTube audience. This is from hockey stat cards. They have their own website. This is from their Twitter though. And what this is a team card for the game against the Flyers here, where the Wild lost in overtime. And so you have these bars where obviously if it goes right, you're going into positive impact on the game. On the left side, that's negative. You're having a negative impact on the game. And then the different shades are at the bottom of the screen here. But basically, like, a dark teal is individual offense. Light teal is team offense above average. And then you have it's cut off, but darker purple is individual defense, and like lighter purple is team defense. Okay. At the very top, Jonas Brodin, would you believe that when he's on the ice, the team is a lot better defensively than when he's not on the ice? That is what this big string of purple says, and how good he is. And actually, they had a decent chunk of team offense when he's on the ice too. Granted, it was a pretty bad overall offensive performance for the Wild. Right. So like, keep that in mind here. Okay. But then you scroll down and you keep going down and you keep going down till you're in the basement here. And David Jiricek, according to this, had an embarrassingly bad game. But this is where I push back, because it's team defense here, team offense here. So essentially when he's on the ice, they're just a worse team. But if you look at the middle point here, you can kind of see individual offense does bump up, and you see a very small sliver of individual defense. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. My takeaway from this, and I'm not the expert on how exactly they run their system, but my fear going into the game, and I think I texted this to you and Jesse, which was, I was nervous about the pairing that he was being put on, him and Jake Middleton, because Jake Middleton, I think, is a good defenseman. But last year, I think he very highly exceeded what he was supposed to do productive wise. I think before he got hurt, he was averaging like nearly what felt like a point a game or something like that. And he was he was an offensive dynamo. I think we're seeing a regression, a natural regression to who he actually is as a player. And you're seeing, because of that, you're not noticing offensively how good he is. You're noticing maybe the lapses he has defensively. So pairing these two together, and Jake Middleton might be able to turn it around, and it is early, but now we're almost a few weeks into the season, and it's like, let's get going. You're kind of a veteran at this point. Sure. The pairing that they have doesn't really set up either of them for that much success. That being said, when you look at it here, Jake Middleton does have, and granted, this doesn't give me like the line combination, so they might have switched it up at one point. But the team defense here and team offense here drops significantly. Defense does actually go up a decent amount. I just don't think David Jiricek is being put in in an environment and in a situation that actually lets him succeed. I think individually he's not impacting the play one way or another, but because of who he is as a player. When he's out there, they are a worse team because he's getting put with this goes back to your point of stabilizers that
they don't stabilize well.
They're not stabilizing.
Well, Faber being with Brodin right now, I think is, and I get why they do it, but I think it's crazy. I think Faber, I would put him with Bouillon. I would actually put so if it was up to me, I think I would go Zeven Faber. What would you do? Spurgeon and Middleton, and then Brodin and Jiricek.
I'd say either that, or I'd be fine with. I think Brodin Jiricek is the pairing that I want to see.
Yeah,
just because of the Middleton Faber repertoire they had last season together, where they were just on fire.
Just put them together.
I'd be fine with going back to that. But also, if you told me I'm going to put Z Bouillon with Brock Faber, then yeah, that's fine too, because that's what I'm expecting from the team for the next 8 to 10 years.
And I think that would have the potential to be peanut butter and jelly.
Oh yes,
because like that's a really good defenseman with a kid and speed. But yeah, and look, also when you take a guy again and throw him in, you send him down, you don't play him, then you send him down, then you throw him in. He's probably not going to be as good as he can be if you give him runway, but they don't want to do that. And that's what confuses me, because it's like, okay, but you got 1 point out of 4 possible points. And that Washington game, I mean, there was nobody that deserved to stay, for the most part, in the lineup after that game. You could have scratched any veteran, which they also don't do enough. Like, that game would have caused me to be looking long and hard at what are we doing here? Like, we're in what, at that point? We played 6 games? That was game 5. And you're playing like that. You pull a stunt like that. So, yeah, no, that's a great explanation. And that's why I think you need a resume of games. Like, I think that's why, like, if Ogren's going to get a chance to play second line, he needs 5 games. He needs 10 games. You can't just be like, okay, here's your shot. Because he's going to press. He's going to press. It's not going to be, and is he going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But what you have now, and it's funny too, because that graphic that you just showed, which is great. Also, like, if you look here at Marcus Johansson, he really likes his game. And so they look at that and they're like, hold on a second here. He's not too bad. But to your point about the eye test, if you watch it, how did he impact the game positively? Like they'll say he did. I'll say, hold on a second. I've watched this guy. You know what that graph lacks? It lacks good old heart. There's no like, does that, and I'm not joking on this part, does that graph take into account like board battles, corner battles, offensive time spent with puck? Like how do they do this? Because to me, the fact that you can skate the puck through neutral as a National Hockey League veteran should not be like this is a really valuable asset. You're a forward. You should be able to skate the puck.
Let's see because right here, this is the Marcus Johansson bar here, where this purple is like team defense, and this teal here is team offense. And then these little itty bitty, tiny little slivers here, that is Marcus Johansson's individual impact on both defense and offense here. Whereas if you go down here, and I think this is like the Jake Middleton that we were highlighting, this is his team defensive like contribution, because he's a defender. He's supposed to be in more defensive contributions.
100%.
To say that and this is where I think, once again, product of environment, he's getting these minutes where he's playing with such good people and such good players to where, you're going to have a positive impact as a team, but with what you are doing individually, it's so minuscule that it just doesn't register to me why you keep putting him there.
Right.
Like he's not impacting the game really whatsoever when he's on the ice, but the team, because of the environment he's being thrust into, looks like his game is so much better than it is.
Right. Unfortunately, they can't score goals, So at the end of the day, the team might be playing fine, but you can't score goals. And I'm sure that I'm sure that graph against the Capitals was a different story, considering the fact how bad that game was. Okay, we're talking about players, right? We're talking about that every team is looking for the complete player. Well, Mystic Lake has the complete package for Vikings fans. Drawings, giveaways, exclusive fan experiences. If you need a ride to the game, take a $15 round trip ride to US Bank Stadium for every Vikings home game. We're talking no parking hassles, just smooth travel. Stay close to the action. In fact, you just saw it if you're watching this right now on the spot at Hop House, where the game is always on and the specials are always flowing. Enjoy fan favorite dining and drinks while not missing any of the action. And then after the game, relax and recharge in one of their luxurious hotel suites. Don't miss your chance to win exclusive Vikings merchandise and experiences only at Mystic Lake. Every day, ladies and gentlemen, is game day. Not just Sundays. Every day is game day. Check them out at mysticlake.com. And welcome aboard, Mystic Lake, to Judd's Hockey Show. And then also I want to talk to you about the best burger in town, and that is the Parlor Burger. Absolutely outstanding locations in St. Paul, actually right down the street from the Wild Arena in the North Loop in Minneapolis. So if you're going to a Wolves game, a perfect place to stop in for dinner. And then also their new location in Excelsior. Parlor, it's great. Now the burger is fantastic, but I want to tell you, because I've been telling you about this for a while, if you were to have a graph showing attributes, showing things that Parlor does well, that chicken sandwich is going to be near the top as well. Underrated, forgotten about. Do not sleep on the chicken sandwich. May I suggest, if you go there on like a date, you get a burger and a chicken sandwich and you split it. And it's fantastic. Craft cocktails and a great beer list as well. That's Parlor. 3 locations: Excelsior, North Loop in Minneapolis, and St. Paul right down the street from the Wild Arena on West 7th. All right, so coming off, there are 2 games left. There are 2 games left on this trip. We're recording this on Monday morning. They play the Rangers tonight, and then they play the Devils on Wednesday. As far as the positives thus far, I would say this: goaltending. I thought Gustafsson was brilliant on Friday. I'm sure he was very pissed off. I wish that he would have done what Anthony Stolarz, the Leafs goaltender, did on Saturday after the Kraken loss in OT, when he absolutely torched his team and said it'd be nice if our guys drove to the net once in a bleeping while, and I loved it. So, Gus, go right ahead and torch your teammates, light a fire. And then to your point, Volstead, I thought, was really good on Saturday. It's amazing what happens when you play a guy. It's amazing what happens when he doesn't think I'm going to be going up and down. Ooh, the threat of me going down is really, oh my God, now my mind's a mess. So, but what is your feeling here? Because I will say this, after that, the Wild comes home for back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday to start a 6-game homestand.
I mean, the Rangers, I think, need to be a win. Like, I expect the Devils to be a very, very tough, if not one of the best teams in hockey all season long. But this Rangers team should not give you trouble. It should be a very much, we get back to whatever culture and offensive talent the Minnesota Wild are supposed to have. And I mean, the expectations based on the past 2 games right now are pretty low, but you need to be getting 2 points here. It doesn't sit well with me if we have another. They drop another stinker against the New York Rangers. They can't look the same. Like, there's got to be some fire. I will say, and this is where maybe I'll go new school on you, and you can push back if you want. If I see Marcus Foligno have to drop the gloves in the first 5 minutes of the game against the Rangers to get the boys going,
he claimed it was to get himself going because he can't get a point.
I'm gonna lose my mind. we are not even 10 games into the season, and if you need your assistant captain to fight in order to get excited to play on the road in Madison Square Garden, you're in the wrong job. You're in the wrong work field. You got to play better, and especially to your point about the goalies here, play better for them. I mean, they're keeping you in games. Granted, it was a 5-1 loss the other night to Washington, but I don't think that was on Gus by any means. I'm sure he's going to get the nod. I bet you he gets the nod for both these games this week. If he had to go inside the mind of John Hines, right?
Yeah.
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 I would imagine it's Gus for both. And I mean, he deserves to get 2 wins. I think right now, if you look at just once again, this is where the stat thing comes into play, which is people that look just at how he's doing. They're going to say, wow, he hasn't been that great of a goaltender after signing. He's been good. It's been the team play in front of him that I think has like dampened those numbers quite a bit. Help him get right yourself. And this should be 2 games where you're putting up probably 4 goals, at least against the Rangers. Like the Rangers should be not a walk in the park, but it should be a game where you clearly are the better team for at least 60 minutes of time. But this, and that's another thing. Have you noticed that they continuously take like a period off at times? Yeah. Going back to the series at home before they went on the road, it's just like, okay, well, you started super hot and you are just driving the net. These pucks are getting deep, all this good stuff. Well, we got a little complacent. Let's just go ahead and hang out here, and then all the Kings, they creep back into the game. Oh my God, we're in overtime. Let's go shootout. It's just annoying.
What's going to take, and I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll still ask it. What's it going to take for Danila Yurov to get a third line center shift and for Hartman to be bumped to the fourth line? Because I feel like Hartman's doing Hartman things, and this is what I was talking about. Like, the playoffs were great. I get that. He came back from that suspension, a man possessed. But we've been here before. I don't think Yurov is showing me anything to say, whoa, oh boy, I don't like that. There's talent there. This is the other thing too. There's talent. These guys, like, you could find out that some guys got mitts, man, hands.
Yeah.
Since he's still here, since he's not been demoted, what do you think it's going to take for him? And I'm not saying first or second line, but to get a third line, top 9 center shift.
Realistically, it's probably some sort of injury that just moves him up in the chain.
I know.
It's not going to be based on merit or anything, based on what you've seen with other guys.
I know.
Because that would upset the apple cart if that's the expression. I think right now he hasn't shown you anything that I think makes you think he has to get buried or
that's what I'm saying.
Has to get scratched.
And again, he's not a fourth line. He's not on this earth to play fourth line. So the sooner we can end the fourth line stuff, like the fourth line is for grinders. Yakov Trenin was born to be a fourth line player if he was born to be in the National Hockey League, which we could debate. But yeah, that's my question.
I think what you're seeing with him too, and maybe correct me if you disagree, but you're seeing a guy who knows and kind of feels he has the secure. There's no. If I make one mistake, I'm going down to Iowa, because for him, if he can just choose to go back overseas and if you don't want me in the lineup, then I don't want to be here to begin with.
He does not. He does not play like he's gripping the stick, which Ogren does.
Yes, and I think that is probably a huge impact onto why he is looking better than maybe they expected, and why he's adjusting, because he has the comfortability of, I'm allowed to make a couple mistakes and I'm not going to get pulled behind the shed and get the crap beat out of me. What actually would probably bump him up is, God, he'd have
a Hartman penalty, like he's doing it again.
You'd have to have like a multi-game Ryan Hartman, multi-penalty game by Ryan Hartman, where he's just physically off the ice, and so they have to, and then it's like, oh, you know what? That kind of works. He kind of belongs there. Something along those lines. I think it'd be great though to have Hartman bumped out to the right, and then that third line is Foligno, Yurov, Hartman. That at least I think could generate a little bit. But the problem is that I don't know who comes in for center on the fourth line. Then is Hinostroza going to take it? Like how quickly is Sturm coming back? I'm not exactly sure. And maybe honestly, maybe that is what it is. If Sturm were to come back, he's not a third line center. I think at that point, does that give them an excuse to scratch Yurov more, or does that just say you're moving to the wing with Ryan Hartman and maybe Hinostroza gets back down to the fourth?
I think I know the answer and I don't like it, but that's why I also want Yurov to get a chance here. Like Hartman's doing it again, man. I see it. Stick gets out there. He's got to know every time that he does something, he's being watched like a hawk. Okay. He has no room for anything. Like he's not going to get away with anything. And so every penalty he takes, and we've been here before, and they eventually get mad about it. But right now it just feels like they are wedded to the veterans, and I don't see the veterans doing enough to justify that. But anyway, so we're planning on doing a show tomorrow because, as we talked about, they play the Rangers tonight. So that'll be a Tuesday show, of course, with Jesse Pierce, our friend from Bar Down Beauties, which, by the way, is on the Score North feed now. So check it out. Jesse and Kirsten Kroll do a great job. They debate a lot of topics. It gets very saucy, spicy at times there. So the first of a few Judd's hockey shows this week. He's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll talk to you later.